I was such a huge admirer of Danny's and a fan of the first movies, and I was so intrigued to see how it is that they're living and coping and managing to survive.
People love world building, as they call it. I don't think anybody wants to live through the apocalypse, but it's quite a nice idea to imagine that you might and how you would go about rebuilding after it.
It's really interesting. It's almost like a period movie, but set in contemporary day, because all of the manufacturing and the clothes just stopped. So you're looking at a different era of things that have been sourced and pulled and recycled.
Danny is an anarchy character that's foundational to his personality. He kind of recognised in us that we have that sense of anarchy as well. When we initially were pitching references and ideas, some of them were quite extreme, but we could see Danny's eyes light up.
And cut, beautiful one.
Danny had worked with Gareth and Carson prior to this, and I met them initially when we were talking about costume ideas and just seeing the kind of detail that they'd gone into. It's been amazing.
The costumes by Carson and Gareth, who are also the production designers, that was a really interesting journey actually, because I was very drawn to trying to find practical wear, and we stumbled on this fireman's jacket in our stunts rehearsal room. And what was good about it was from that period of time. Showed it to Danny and Carson and Gareth. We kind of liked the sort of silhouette of what it did over the top of a boiler suit. It seemed sort of odd and wrong, and then it felt like that's why it could be right.
It was surprising for me because I thought I'd be switching costumes and having loads of different ones, but this is my main costume for the full thing. What I really love is this talisman. I'm thinking of like backstories of how he got this. I think him and Isla went down to a beach together and she made him this. It's really nice. I love the jacket though. Jacket's amazing. Might get myself one of these.
With Isla's costume, we tried different things, and then eventually she looked post-war. She looked like she'd fallen out of time, and I think that was a really key thing we wanted to get right. The thing is with Jodie's character, she represents Holy Island, like the clues in the name.
A lot of the flowers on Isla's dress that she wears throughout the film are flowers that you can find on Holy Island. It's all those kind of details that have really helped bring it to life.
For Isla, it's about her journey to her death. And so we broke her down in the beginning. We make her look sweaty and rough, which is very hard to do. It's very hard to make Jodie Comer look rough.
We were initially going to do a wig, and then, you know, I kind of expressed to Flora that I wanted the freedom to like be tactile with my head, especially when, you know, Isla suffers from headaches. I think there's a lot of pain within this area, and usually when you have a wig, you just can't do that. I think when you're playing someone with an illness on this kind of journey, it's definitely important that the audience feels that's truthful.
Action!
For Kelson, when we first see him in the green grass, we just wanted him to look startling and arresting.
Excuse my appearance. I paint myself in iodine. It's an excellent prophylactic.
He's essentially sort of red-orange figure. And we made the decision for me to shave my head against long hair. We thought that was a strong look, but his clothes are manky and sweaty and iodine stained, and he'd probably be pretty stinky.
We have done so many tests on iodine because there are so many factors. If you go too red, he suddenly starts looking like he's covered in blood. If you go too brown, it looks a bit too muddy. So we have tested and retested, and now he is tonally that of iodine.
I think it's that attention to detail that coming into this world, we never realised all of the things that are needed for the whole film. But it's been incredibly fulfilling.
Everything that they're wearing, it means so much to us. It means so much to the actor. It means so much to the story. Maybe audiences won't see the depth of that, but we know and they know. For example, I don't think anyone will ever know how much work has gone into, for example, the jimmies. It's 7 characters. Each one of them is made of a patchwork of all these different tracksuits. Each one has gone through maybe like 30 people's hands to get there.
If I were to say what look I like the most, is the jimmies. They are really, really iconic in the fact that I hadn't seen it before, which makes you excited.
Would you mind if we stepped in?
Gareth and Carson have come up with these awesome tracksuits that have been kind of sewn and patched together, all in kind of bright primary colours. And then Sir Jimmy is in an immaculate tracksuit covered in gold chains and a tiara.
Hold.
And they are nasty.
Hold.
And they're bringing something new to the screen that I think we haven't seen before.
Fucking go.
One of the things that's been such an incredible gift from this process has been to see all these incredible artisans doing their work, all the different departments, to see that come together. It was an absolute pleasure.
How's that?
Initial conversations were often about, all right, so there'd been a 28 days, there'd been a 28 weeks. It seems a bit stupid to do 28 months after this amount of time has passed from those films. So 28 years felt more appropriate. But then it was to do with imagining, what does 28 years mean? If the infection is still in Britain, what has happened to the country?
I think the biggest thing was imagining how a world would rebuild itself after an apocalypse. And the premise for this kind of film, where you have retreated to a safe space, protected by a causeway, and a causeway that you can defend when it is exposed by the tide, felt like a really great starting point.
Post-apocalyptic stories largely take place in cities, because you see the decay of the houses, the decay of the buildings, and what Danny always wants is some kind of subversion. So this is just green and beautiful, and what you actually have is a community who in many ways are coping very well. There's nothing post-apocalyptic about it. So that's visual subversion.
The film opens on Holy Island. It's a famous island where, Christianity came to England. It's where the Vikings first attacked Britain. So it's a very famous place in British history in the north of England, near Scotland on the east coast.
Here we go. Everyone ready? Roll sound!
We wanted, obviously, Holy Island and the mainland to look very different. The island is a place that is touched by the human hand. We wanted lots of smoke. We wanted this idea of kind of agriculture and controlled nature, whereas when you got onto the mainland, it was this superabundance, this hyper-real, almost lurid green colours. So we found that kind of juxtaposition of those two things really important.
These films are set in the north of England, and we've been all over Yorkshire and Northumberland. It's afforded us these landscapes, these incredibly wild and varied landscapes. So it didn't take much to imagine how we could turn it into a land that hasn't been touched for 28 years.
The northeast of England, it's not used a lot for filming. It's Northumbria, it's quite a wild area, which suited our story because the country is naturally rewilding, so it suited our story. But it also gives you a source. It's quite close to Holy Island, and it gives you the accent.
Oh, look, the angel.
Which is what people are listening to as a Geordie accent, a beautiful sing-song accent from the north.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joblo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.